I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast, and we are founding members of the OddPods Media Network.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Two things I know in this world: black and white convenience store movies and podcasting, man. So when I give you a podcast suggestion, people tend to listen. I'm about to drop some on you right now. Check out a great variety of podcasts on the OddPods Media Network, man. I'm talking shows Super Media Brothers, Married with Television, The 500 Section Lounge, From the Middle Podcast, Pod Askew, BFYTW, and Infectious Groove, all proud members of the OddPods Media Network. They make me so happy, spittle flies out of my mouth when I talk about them, man. I love anybody that creates a podcast network, and the good folks at OddPods have done exactly that. Go listen to all the podcasts on OddPods Media Network right now and tell them Silent Bob sent you. And when they say, wait, I thought he doesn't talk, and you're like, yeah, well, he talks one line per movie. And then go like, what? And the one line in a movie told you to go listen to OddPods Media Network? And then be like, look, it was just a fucking sign-off catchphrase. Get off my dick. And then you'll have made a new friend.
Don't tell Mom. The babysitter is actually dead.
You know, hell is pretty festive this time of year.
A trilogy of fear.
All that and more.
You ready to summon the darkness?
We shall swarm my listeners.
Super Media Bros.
Throw them in the trash.
Throw him right in the trash.
You know, I honestly wanted to take a picture of those packs of bubbly.
Actually, just take a picture of LaCroix. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Throw it in the trash.
Yeah. You know what to do. But also, I immediately go to Chris Jericho.
Ooh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 187 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We're Netflix and killing this week, goddammit.
Killing and chilling.
Replace the chill with some kill. But some of the movies bring the chill, some of them are lukewarm. So we were figuring out what the fuck we were going to do this week. And in just a casual conversation, we decided, you know what? Both of us have been watching a shitload of the horror films that Netflix has to offer up. So why the fuck not?
It's Halloween in August. And you know what? At work, I'm getting a lot of Halloween shit already. So it's like, why the fuck not?
Can we just skip September and move right into October?
Yeah, I mean, fuck school supplies.
No shit. It's like, fuck school supplies. Let's get right into spook supplies.
We need fall and we need spoops. I need my spooky, scary skeletons song to pop up and me do the dance.
I mean, can we just skip September and go right to Spooky Media Bros? I mean, fuck.
Might as well.
I mean,
just fast forward.
Exactly. So we've kind of watched a shitload. Like, we're definitely going to get into the Fear Street Trilogy, like, in depth a lot more than a couple weeks ago. So just hang with us a bit. Let's mow through some of the shit that we've watched individually. Because you were telling me about some movies, and then I was like, hey, have you seen any of these? And it's just kind of like some we've watched, you know, each of us have watched, not together, but both of us have seen them, and some others not so much. You were telling me about The Swarm.
So we were on a binge of just what looks interesting. And a lot of it was foreign market film. I was like, you know what? This is pretty cool. I'm going to watch this because the titles and everything, posters are cool.
Generally, foreign market has good shit to offer too.
Yeah. So The Swarm is basically this lady. She farms locusts for multi-purposes, like for food, for other edibles, flour. She does like flour and stuff like that. Well, business is not booming as usual. And she's frustrated because all of the sales that she has been getting for her swarms are just not sufficient for her family. Well, at some point, she has a tantrum and just destroys like part of her little... It's like a dome-ish looking greenhouse, but it's like the opaque covering versus having the glass and shit. Well, she loses her shit and knocks herself out. And all the locusts start eating off of her like wounds and shit. And literally, they just go absolutely berserk after a while because the next day, she finds them literally like going in circles like crazy in this like cyclone of terror.
Like tsunami?
Yeah, pretty much, but way better.
Oh, I can't imagine how.
Yeah. But that's pretty much what the gist of the film is. Like, it's a foreign film. I can't think it was like French or Spanish.
It is French.
Yeah. Like, we watched it in the fucking English dub, and goddamn, it's not as terrible as the other film I'm going to talk about, but yeah, it's pretty.
Is it close?
It kind of is. A lot closer than another film, which I'll talk about again, like I said.
Right on.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. I was hoping more for she was going to control versus them like just losing their shit. But it wasn't a bad film. Not going to be one of those like, oh my God, you have to watch. Just kind of like, if you feel like it, do it.
Yeah, if it catches your interest, go for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about We Summon the Darkness, because when you see a movie called We Summon the Darkness and the plot of said film is 3 chicks getting involved, like after a concert, like finding themselves in the midst of a satanic ritual or some shit. Look, I'm not even going to lie. They had me at the beginning. They fucking had me at the beginning. It was set in the 80s and it was a concert setting. It was 3 chicks on a road trip. Johnny Knoxville is a priest on the television, but I tweeted about this and I was like, is it just me or does it piss you off when you can call what's gonna fucking happen within the first 10 minutes of a movie?
That happens way too often with me, to be honest.
But they didn't even try to fucking bury what was gonna happen. They didn't even try. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
So these chicks, they meet up in the parking lot of this concert. They see these 3 dudes. Well, these 3 dudes had like thrown like a milkshake or something on their fucking windshield.
Did they bring the boys to the yard?
No, it brought the girls though.
Oh, okay.
So like they show up and they recognize the van and they're just like, hey, this is that van that hit us with the fucking milkshake. So they throw fireworks in their van. And it turns out these dudes are in a band with each other, but the drummer is moving to Los Angeles, and that's like a thing that pops up here and there. Like the one of them is really pissed off about it while the other one's like supportive and shit. And the 3 girls that are together, one of them is like brand new and has never like gone out with them, and they're just like, oh yeah, this will be a lot of fun. You never get out and blah blah blah. It's your first time doing something like this, and these dudes talk about like this string of killing that's happened, and then the girls were listening on the radio on the way to like a convenience store, and one of them was like, shut up, I want to hear this, and the other one was like, no, just turn it off, I don't want to hear about that. It's blah blah blah. And so the guys start talking about it, and they go to this concert and they hang out and they all get to know each other. The new girl has a crush on the drummer who's leaving. So they invite them, the girls invite the dudes out to one of their mom's houses, like way out. They're like, we have beer and all this other shit. It's like this big mansion. It's a huge fucking place. Well, they start playing a game of Never Have I Ever. And it starts getting to the point where one of them's like, never have I ever drugged somebody's drink. And all the girls, except I think it's just 2 of the girls take a drink. And then the other one takes a drink. And then it's like, well, what the fuck? Then the quote unquote, which I knew it was happening as soon as like as soon as they get to the concert, the twist is that the girls are actually the fucking satanic cult, but they're not actually satanic cult. They are killing people to bring other people to the church of her dad, which is Johnny Knoxville's character, who he's behind the entire thing, where he's like, okay, y'all set up these ritual killings so that people will see this on the news and it'll drive them to come to our church. Cool plot. Execution was fucking terrible. If it wouldn't have been so obvious, I might have enjoyed it a lot more. The best part of this entire fucking movie, which is saying a lot, is Johnny Knoxville as the goddamn reverend.
I can literally physically see him as a reverend, like spot on look.
But the best part is he's not even comedic about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing it like straight. Like when he wants to be, he's a really good actor. Not saying this is like a goddamn Academy role or anything, but still.
Yeah.
So if you feel like checking it out, have a couple of beers. What was the other movie you were going to do?
I don't know, because both of the films in mind, your movie kind of made me go either way because they both kind of have similarities. I kind of want to get this one out of the way because I have a couple of frustrations with it. Well, mainly one. A classic horror story.
I watched this one too.
So the setting is basically kind of similar. It's this group of people, which it's strange how they all collectively get on this like RV bus.
It's like a ride share, basically.
Yeah.
What was it in Italian?
Yeah, it was Italian. They were basically doing like a tour of Italy, I guess you can say. And it was just a ragtag group of people. It was like this weird, I don't even know what the guy was. He was like a weird driver. There was a couple there. There was this girl that was kind of like the shy to herself person. And it was somebody else. I can't remember, but it's all a blur to me.
It's like there's like a doctor. The driver is
That's
this
right.
fucking Instagram influencer / like YouTuber or some crap.
That's right, because he was all about social media. He was like, take pictures of everything, do videos of everything. We're going to post on here. And God, let me get this out the way, because like this is probably my biggest frustration with Netflix. Get your dubs in check, because my God, y'all made these people more stupid than they are in this film.
Yeah, especially if you watch the English dub and then you have the subtitles there and they don't match up, but they're saying something similar to what's on the screen.
The driver was the most annoying person with that English dub. I have to say, he was the worst person in this film with that dub. Outside of that, he was annoying, but that made it far worse. Just hearing it, whoever acted that dub needs to be like fired. Netflix, fire that fucker.
You're fired. You serious?
They end up wrecking the bus, I believe. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so there's this couple that's on there, and the boyfriend decides, I'm gonna drive this fucking bus.
That's right.
Because he gets drunk.
Yeah, and then he like glimpses at something, or he trips out about something, and they hit a tree, I think.
Yeah, the social influencer dude sees like this goat in the middle of the road, and he's like, shit,
right.
and he fucking swerves it into a tree.
That's right.
But the fucked up part is when they wake up, everybody's passed out, so they wake up in the middle of a field, and it almost is like Midsummer meets Cabin in the Woods in a way. It's really fucking weird.
It's just strange how they wrecked on the road, but then they end up in a fucking field. Like the whole entire RV bus with them in it ends up in a field. But in the field distance, there's a house. And it has like these red tones and the red siding and everything like that. It's kind of like offsetting compared to like the drab gray surroundings. And they come to find out that there's like this cultish organization that literally sacrifices. It's basically, your typical kind of, sacrificial of people bullshit. But they end up finding this girl upstairs who's in this like nest.
She was like in this hay cocoon kind of thing.
And they try to get her out the house, and they end up being confronted, I guess, by
it's like these three weird, like demonic hooded looking figures.
They're like these. It's like this. The lore is basically these three brothers that one is like hear no evil, see no evil, say no evil. It's basically that same theme with the mask that they wear,
right?
And they basically end up dying, one by one. And one of the girls is the main chick.
She's the pregnant one that was considering an abortion through this whole thing.
Yeah, she's basically at the end of the film the only one that survives. Well, come to find out, it's like a movie. This guy is filming a real life horror film with actual killing.
Yeah, it's the bus driver, and he's funded by the mafia.
Yeah,
because at one point when she wakes up, she's attached to a wheelchair, like totally Texas Chainsaw, in a fucking chair with her hands nailed to the shit.
Yeah, that was fucking cool though.
Right, and it's this female. All these people are eating and stuff, and she's just like, the mafia has changed over the years. Turns out all these people are actors. Even this little girl that had her tongue cut out, supposedly, she's an actress, and she's actually the younger sister of the
bus driver.
Yeah.
It was an interesting like twist, because I would have never have thought that somebody was like, I really want to make this authentic, so let's actually kill people.
I think his logic is funny though, because he's sitting there and he's just like, nobody in Italy loves horror. Everybody here is a bunch of pussies. It's like they don't want the horror movie, but they go home and turn the TV on and they see nothing but death and destruction. It's like, okay, I'm going to give you that.
Yeah.
Which makes me laugh because, shit, not even 2-3 weeks ago, we talked about a couple of horror movies from Italy.
Yeah.
So that's a fucking lie.
But it's interesting because that whole sequence with the wheelchair reminded me of Saw. Because like when he appeared on the screen, he was just like, you know what? And he starts explaining like everything to the girl. And she was, like you said, nailed to the fucking wheelchair. It's like this Saw kind of reminiscence a little bit. But she escapes eventually. And she confronts a home dude. There was a camera set up and everything like that. And they were struggling over a shotgun. And she got like just done. She was so fucking done. Like, she knocked the dude out, and he was like begging for like, please let me go. No, she fucking shot his ass in the fucking head.
Yeah, she filmed the whole thing too.
Yeah,
Like,
all on cording.
But the fact that she blew the girl away at first, the little girl, because the little girl opens the door and she's just like, fuck, and she gets shot. Then that dude gets fucking killed. And then she walks back to the camera and she's like, there's your fucking ending. And then it cuts to a group chat, and I think it was called Bloodflix, like a made up version of Netflix.
But for horror, basically.
Yeah, and this guy hears about this in this group chat, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. And he checks like the first 20 seconds and then the last like 20 seconds of her killing him. And then he goes and fucking thumbs down it before he leaves. So like the dude has been making all these horror movies that fucking suck, and none of his shit was good. So they just like, oh, downvote.
It's like real authentic horror. It just sucks, apparently.
Yeah, no shit. We're gonna make this snuff, and it sucks.
Yeah, like out of the whole film, there were a couple of parts that were cool and interesting, but as a whole, like, it's kind of predictable. It's kind of The dub, I should have watched it in the regular like language with the subtitles, to be honest, but that fucking English dub just killed me so fucking much.
I think I was too lazy to actually. It sounds terrible because I usually watch the regular language and I watch it with subtitles, but I was feeling so lazy. I was like, fuck it. I'm not feeling good today. I haven't felt good all week, honestly. So I was like, I'm just going to fucking put this shit on.
Not a terrible film, but definitely not high up there as far as like one of the best horror films.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up.
Like I said, check it out if you just want to kill time.
Don't get your hopes up. Yeah, don't get your hopes up or your tropes up.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about The Babysitter, Killer Queen, which is a sequel to The Babysitter, which I checked out a few years ago on Netflix in 2017. Not bad. Really liked it, actually. It deals with this kid whose babysitter is part of a fucking satanic cult. Go figure.
Man, there's a theme today.
I know, right?
Cults.
Yeah. But it actually was decent. It was pretty good. I thought it was funny. And by the end of that movie, he winds up driving his parents' vehicle or a vehicle into his fucking house to kill her. Well, he, in this sequel, set years later actually, is having visions about all this shit. And the girl that was with him the night that all this happened is like, okay, like, try to move past it. You know, we're therapy and all this other shit. She was like, you got to move past it. You know, let's think about the positives of it. And she was like, oh, there was a lot of kissing that night because like he had a crush on her and they made out and blah, blah, blah. Well, he's kind of the shy dude, like, oh God, I'm in high school. Oh God, this happened to me. Everybody thinks I'm a freak and I can't like pursue with this chick because I don't think she's actually into me. She just sees me as a friend. And so she's like, well, why don't we just go to this fucking party? Because I'm not even asking my dad. I'm just taking his car. And he's like, well, I can't just ditch school and all this other shit. Well, he finds out that his parents, who don't believe him, are trying to send him to some kind of like psych ward academy. So he's like, fuck it, I'm out of here. So they go to this lake party and they get on this boat and it's Cole, the main character. His name is Cole. And the chick that he was with was Melanie. And B is the name of the babysitter. Well, they're on the boat and they're with like a couple of other friends there. And they keep asking him, they're just like, oh yeah, so you've seen some shit, huh? So you saw like this satanic cult try to fucking kill you and all this other crap. Well, Melanie is just like, well, he doesn't want to talk about it. Like it's not good. Like, can you just change the subject? So then finally they talk about it enough. And then Melanie is just like, he doesn't want to hear about this cult killing. He doesn't want to hear anything about the Devil's Book. And he's just like, how do you know about the Devil's Book? He finally whispers at her. He's like, Melanie, how do you know about the fucking Devil's Book? And she's just like, because I wrote my name in it. And then she takes this fucking fish hook thing or this giant hook and just slices one of the girls' throats open. So it's revealed that she is in on it. And so are these other two guys that are there.
Fun times.
Because she wants to be, get this, just like a classic horror story, she wants to be an influencer. And she sold her soul to the devil to do it.
Fun times indeed.
Yeah, so hijinks ensue on this whole lake. And there's some funny parts with his dad. I'm not going to lie. This is kind of funny. But there's this new chick that shows up and like they fall for each other. And the whole idea is that Cole is innocent. So they have to like mix his blood with the blood of like whatever and drink it to get all their powers and shit. Well, turns out he winds up fucking this chick and none of them know it. So his blood is tainted. And so they all drink the shit and explode. Well, it turns out before this happens, they're kidnapped and shit. Well, B, the babysitter who everybody thought was dead, she comes out of the water. And it turns out she babysat the new chick. And the new chick was like, well, it's my fault. My parents are dead, blah, blah, blah. Well, the babysitter was the one driving the car the night of the accident that killed them. And it turns out B, the babysitter, sold her soul to save the girl's life. So B hasn't been a villain technically the entire time. I mean, it's not terrible. Like, the sequel was it tried hard to be Scott Pilgrim a few times. So, like, yeah, if you got a Saturday night to kill, watch them both back to back.
Literally, to kill.
That's right.
Yeah, my last film, I just happened to come across it called HELLFEST, which this is actually an American film. Basically, it's 6 friends. I think they're like college student, like age and shit like that. Well, they end up having one of their friends come in from town and they want to celebrate her being there by actually having some fun. But they go to this, I don't know if any of y'all out there have actually experienced one of these or have one of these, but it's literally like 13th Gate or Necropolis. It's literally a horror experience that you navigate through.
It's like a carnival.
Yeah.
You think it'd be like, what the shit they do at Universal Studios, the horror nights or whatever?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much like a festival of horror. Basically, if you think about like Renfest, but for, that genre. And they all literally go through this entire festival, just enjoying all the cool shit going on. Well, on the flip side, there is a hooded person that just happens to kill off whomever he wants. And he has this disfigured, almost like clay-looking mask with like this deformed look to it. And he has a steel-toe boot that has an exposed part of the steel on one side. So, go through the festival and everything like that, these 6 friends. 2 of them, the main girl and one of the other guys, they're the most tame, but they're trying to like hint that they're going to end up being together at some point. The other 2 are just like, I'm going to slobber all over each other. Oh, fuck this, fuck that. Yeah. They're literally like that kind of people.
It's fuck fest. It's not HELLFEST.
Yeah, it's pretty much. But along the way, this is the part that kind of confused me. Is like the only time the killer had interest in murdering someone is like they bump into him.
What if he just kills him because they pissed him off? Like they just bump into him. He's like, oh, now you gotta die.
I mean, that was pretty much what happened. Like this one girl did it by accident and she was mouthing off about it. And he literally chased her throughout the whole entire like festival and shit.
He's like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
it's what the hell fest.
Well, and they go through this one scene where 2 of the girls, the best friend and the main girl, I don't remember their names. I don't really care at this point. But they go to this like haunted classroom and they see the chick being chased go into the room and she's like literally freaking out. Like, he's coming after me. He's coming after me. Well, they're thinking that, oh, it's part of the bit. Basically, it's some actor doing this. The guy comes in and chases her. Well, at one point, he stares at the main girl and she's like, she went that way. But she gets this vibe that it's not acting out. It's something actually really happening. And I think that was the coolest thing about this film was you're literally in a festival of horror and anybody can be a killer. And it actually, you won't even think twice because it's part of the bit. It's part of the act.
So you wouldn't think that somebody getting killed in front of you is actually getting killed. You're just
Right.
like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's a prop. That's actual intestines coming out. No, it's not. It's sausage or some shit.
Sausage fest.
Yeah.
It's everything fest at this bitch.
Well, they end up getting stalked by this guy, and they do the whole classic tropes of like him disappearing in the crowd or the fog or whatever like that. And she starts panicking, the main girl. Like, he's chasing us, he's stalking us, and everybody's like, it's part of the bit, it's part of the act. Don't worry about it. You're freaking out too much.
You're being a pussy. Shut the fuck up.
Well, the guy that's interested in her is feeling bad because he couldn't win a stuffed animal for this chick with all the little corny games and shit like that. So he goes by himself to go and find a stuffed animal for her. And the guy that ran one of the stalls He's like, dude, I spent like $50 on this. Can I please just get like one little stuffed animal? He's just like, no, I'd lose my job, man. Like, dude, you get paid how much? Like $5 an hour?
No shit.
Come on. Like, you ain't worried about your damn job at this
It just
point.
makes me laugh. It's like, dude, I'll suck your dick for a stuffed teddy bear.
Yeah.
It reminds me, have you ever seen Dark Man?
Yeah, I have.
Remember the scene where he's at the carnival and he's just like, take the fucking bear.
Yeah.
He's like trying to give her the goddamn stuffed animal.
Take it.
Where did they get burned?
How did they get burned?
How did they get burned? How did they get earned?
But he ends up navigating into like the employees only section of the carny, basically. And he finds some lockers that happen to have, stuffed animals like excess of, because some guy that works there is like, oh yeah, we have a bunch of them stuffed over in the back lockers. Blah, 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 blah. Well, he ends up finding one, and Home Dude, the killer, finds him, and he's like, okay, you're intimidating, you're an actor, get out of my way, dude. And he's like, nope. He knocks his ass out with a fucking mallet, like one of those carny game mallets.
Ding! Those things.
Yeah. He like headbutts him with it, and he drags his body into the actual head, like the slam part. I don't know what it's called, the pad. And he grabs the mallet and just crushes him like fucking Gallagher. Like, I was like, God damn, that fucking shit.
Oh, it's amazing
explodes.
as fuck.
Yeah, and then it was funny how you hear the ding. So they're going on, the rest of the group is going on this ride that basically leads them to like the hell necropolis looking place.
Going on a hell ride.
And Home Chick is like texting him, is like, are you coming? Well, the killer grabs the phone. He's like, I have a surprise for you. And the rest of the guys reveal, it's like, yeah, he's trying to get you a stuffed animal because he feels bad for not winning one. So she's like, oh, my heart. Ooh, I like him. Well, they go down this ride and it stops like midway. And Homegirl's by herself. Like, she feels alone. The other two groups are like, yeah, I'm going to make out in this like freaking like corpses falling down and screams everywhere. Oh, this is perfect sex scene shit. Let's make out. Yeah. But anyway, she stops midway, and in the distance you see Home Dude. And I love this scene so much. Like, every time she would turn around to like get the bar off of her, he would be like right there closer and be closer.
He just appears.
Yeah. And he would walk closely to her and literally sit on top while she's fucking struggling. And she gets to the end of the ride, and what freaked out the most, like, about this part was there were other people dressed up like this dude.
Oh, so Jesus Christ.
Exact same hoodie, exact same mask, same pants, everything. The only thing that was different was the steel toe boots.
Oh, is that how she tell the difference?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And she was freaking out, saying, like, that's him. That's the guy stalking us. And they're all looking around like, bruh, he's an actor. Look at him. He's around the same people.
Look at the shoes.
They end up going to the bathroom at one point, and he's stalking her in the bathroom, and you see the foot pop up in the stall, and he's shaking the fucking door trying to get to her. Well, she crawls out, and she's tripping the fuck out. Her best friend comes in there. They call the security, and they're like, we can't find this dude. He's probably just some actor, blah, blah. I mean, it's pretty much the whole thing. Like, nobody believes her. Well, one by one, they all start getting killed off. Well, chaos ensues. There was one part where I'm trying to think. It was one of the other guys, the other friend. He gets stabbed in the middle of a crowd, and the security and the cops finally catch the guy, but it's the wrong person because he has red tennis shoes on.
Go fucking figure.
And they all start trying to close the park down, and everybody's like literally trying to leave. Well, the best friend and the homegirl were trying to escape this guy, and at the end of the day, they can't catch him. They end up escaping, and they couldn't find the killer at all. But they literally lost like 4 of their friends along the way. The ending, I'm conflicted a little bit because the guy goes to his house, and he goes in his garage, and he opens up this like drawer, or it's like this armoire, and it has 6 different masks. And he takes the one he's wearing off, and he puts it in the armoire. And it's still showing from behind him. Like, you don't see his face or nothing.
Oh, so they never reveal it.
No. He walks into the living room, and he has a little kid sleeping on the couch. It's his daughter. And she's like, Daddy, what did you bring me? And it was a little stuffed animal.
Take the fucking bear.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, this dude has a fucking, like, kid. And he's going around murdering people?
Hiding in plain sight, dude.
It's like, holy shit. But at the same time, it's like, okay. Like, I don't know. It's a weird ending to me, but at the same time, I'm like, it's different.
Seriously, what the HELLFEST?
Yeah. There's some good aspects of this film. Like I said, one, you don't really expect, like, okay, is it really killing someone or is it a part of the bid? Like, that whole thing is like the freak fest of this part. Like, you don't know what's actually going on.
Yeah, the what if of it is the selling point.
Yeah. And then two, like, some of the sequences with the killer, like, especially in the little carnival train ride thing that they had going on, like, it would shot him at a distance, and then every time she turned around, he would be closer, but he wouldn't move. And it'd be closer, and then he started walking. I was like, that's pretty cool. But overall, it was a above average film. You know, I wouldn't really give it any more props than that because it's pretty predictable, minus the few bits that I mentioned. But yeah, it was HELLFEST. Definitely check it out if you want something a little different.
Attention listeners from across the galaxy!
You don't have to yell, we're right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Do we have a pube problem?
We'll have belly button hair. Will that help with this?
Cody, was that an alien?
It's a very tiny alien.
He's very...
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, wow.
You'll still answer my question.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Cool.
Are you ready for an out-of-world experience?
Wolf.
Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped.
Who is Manscaped?
It has not just taken off only in the United States, but Canada, the UK, Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore as well.
What about Planet Exxon?
What?
That's our planet. What about there?
Inside of the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your entire solar system.
Let's go test it out on the crop circles we're gonna make earlier.
I didn't think y'all still did that. Isn't that like old school?
I think it is old school. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology.
Did you copy that, Houston?
Actually, yes, I did.
Good, because these spacesuits are a little tight around the crotch area over.
The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and is even waterproof, so yes, your adventure to Mars will be covered.
Is that faster than their rocket ships?
You can make your rocket ship faster, because the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 4000K LED spotlight that you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels in the universe.
Faster than the speed of light.
Check it out, little alien dude. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker, so you can also, do your crop circles, and it's like having a little astronaut around to chop up the worst weeds that are in your nose and in your ear.
Oh.
Guess what else, little alien dude?
What's that?
The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual blade system.
I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds awesome.
Well, what it means is that it provides proprietary skin-safe technology that will help prevent nicks and all those little delicate holes. Don't forget to use the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-game while feeling the sun's heat, because you're going to be a lot closer than we are here on planet Earth, dude.
This is true.
And just for you, little dude, and also everybody else that's listening out there, Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Get 20% off with free shipping using our code SUPER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com.
Let's go back to Exxon and tell the rest of the civilization what's going on.
You do that, little dude. Get yourself aerodynamic and ready for liftoff. Your Spaceballs will thank you.
What the hell are the Super Media Brothers? Oh, love.
All right, so let's get to this trilogy that you guys have been waiting for us to talk about.
Fear Street.
Yes. Okay, so on Netflix, true, but the movie, or the trilogy, I should say, was actually supposed to come out via 20th Century Fox, all in the same year. But as we know, Disney was like, we're buying Fox. And I don't think we have any room for this to get released on our time.
Right.
So Netflix wound up saving the day and buying the rights to this shit. which I'm glad somebody did because I would have been really upset had these movies never seen the light of day. Based on the books of the same name, obviously, it wasn't really so much adaptations from any particular story or characters. They took some things from the lore and they kind of, instead of adapting books, they put some of the books as Easter eggs in the film, and especially in the beginning of the first one. But they were basically just giving us the lore of where the name Fear Street came from.
But yeah, at this point, you start having there's a feud between the two rival cities. It's Shady Side and it was Sunnyvale, I think.
Sunnyvale.
Sunnyvale, yeah. So literally, if you live in Sunnyvale, you're the prep school, you're the rich family, you're the talk of the town kind of people, and you go to...
It's perfection. They haven't seen a crime in decades.
Yeah. And if you live in Shady Side, you're literally the slums. You're literally like shit, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's some subtleties that they throw in there. Like even there's a vigil for... Okay, so let's just jump into the first, like 1994. Okay, so this chick is working at like this Gadzooks, or not really the Gadzooks. She's working at a bookstore, and her friend works across the mall at this Gadzooks Hot Topic kind of store.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she winds up getting moited. But anyway, so they're having a candlelight vigil like from both towns. And it's getting into like the way that the towns kind of see one another. Like Shady Side has no names on the back of the football jerseys. Meanwhile, Sunnyvale has all it. So I guess it's kind of like, okay, this city's kind of poor. Right. Nobody gives a fuck. And Sunnyvale is like, oh, we get everything we want. Mm-hmm. The cop and the mayor are brothers. And I mean, that all plays, into each other at the end. But 1994 was really good as far as a lot of people didn't think so. But I thought the characters were playing their parts pretty good, even though they were a bunch of 20-somethings.
Right.
They looked and talked like teens.
But I think one of the main topics that they were trying to portray and discuss was kind of like the hate towards, gays, lesbians, and stuff like that, because two of the characters in 1994, which you kind of get thrown off because you're seeing, what was her name? Sam?
The one that left?
The one that left was Sam, I believe.
Yeah. And then Dina was kind of writing like, fuck you, Sam, blah, 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 and like kept crossing the shit out and stuff. But
yeah, because at one point you see Sam, Dina was actually looking at Sam, but it was a guy and a girl. And you come to find out Sam was the girl. So Dina was in love with Sam because Sam went to Sunnyvale. She stayed in Shady Side. So the entire time, they're literally fussing at each other like, you left. Why did you leave? We were supposed to be together, this whole, scenario. But at one point, you start getting it's unorthodox. It's very traditional to stay, male and female, especially in the 90s. But Sunnyvale, Sam's mom was literally strict. Like, no, you need to get the fuck out of here. Basically.
Yeah, you're not going to corrupt my little girl, blah, blah, blah.
But aside from that part, you get introduced to the curse of Sarah Fear, where she basically controls these killers throughout all of history. And I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but they disturbed Sarah Fear's grave.
It was just a bus chase.
Yeah.
Because when Sunnyvale and Shady Side, the football teams got into a big old fight, cheerleaders and everything. And they're on this bus and they're having this whole like rah-rah speech about like, we're going to go kick their asses, all this other shit. Well, in the back of the bus, Dina's laying down. Well, Sam kind of is riding shotgun in this car with like her boyfriend and like this other dude, and they're throwing shit at the bus. So Dina's like, open the fucking back door, and she winds up getting a nosebleed, and then she accidentally like lets go of this ice cooler, and it hits the car, and the car veers off the road and crashes.
Mm-hmm.
So when Sam crawls out of the car, she puts her hand through this kind of like soft earth, but she's bleeding out, and her blood touches the ground, and that's when the grave is officially disturbed.
So at this point, Sarah Fear stalks whomever's blood is attached to. And pretty much throughout the entire film, like I mentioned, they're trying to survive. It's like 6 different or 5 different killers throughout all of history. And I remember it was Ruby Lane, I think was one of them. I think she was probably the one that stands out the most to me because she was the one that sang and whistled throughout the whole time she was walking around.
Yeah, dude, it made me fucking loud because oh boy, it was just like, oh god, she was so hot, but she was so fucking psycho.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fucking hilarious. There's some stuff in here that, like, when it happened, like, okay, so Dina's little brother Josh, great, fucking awesome character. He's into the games. He's in all the movies. He's into the fucking AOL chat. And he's kind of like the conspiracy theorist dude that has tied every terrible event in Shady Side's history to Sarah Fear via newspaper clippings and magazines and so on and so forth. Well, at one point, everybody kind of gets together. Dina's trying to save Sam. Then they all eventually come together to make this plan work. And it was kind of neat because they wound up taking her blood, putting it in this mop bucket with water, and they just kind of painted trails for all these killers to like show up. Now, meanwhile, the Sheriff Good doesn't believe a goddamn bit of it, and really nobody else does. I mean, they blow them the fuck up in this bathroom, and they come back, like they regenerate, and they figure out, okay, well, there was somebody that survived. I think Josh even points it out. He's like, somebody survived the killings in 1978. We got to call her and figure out how the fuck she survived or whatever. And, you know, she was just like, oh, she died, but she was resuscitated. So they assume that Sam has to die. And this kind of leads me to a part in the movie that I legit was just like, fuck. So Josh has a thing for, I want to say it's Kate.
Oh, yeah, this scene.
Well, they're all fighting the good fight. Kate gets wrecked by a fucking bread slicer.
Yeah, like literally just chunks just come flying out like head first. Just, oh god, that was so disgusting but cool.
Yeah, and he had to see it. And I was just like, oh, they fucked him over. And then her friend Simon, their friend Simon, and Simon even told Josh, he was like, dude, she's not just nice to anybody. Like, she believes in you, so you need to start seeing that in yourself. And it was like this really nice little speech. And then that dude gets fucking axed in the head.
Yep.
Right. So at this point, I was a little pissed. Like, you know how when you get lost in a movie and you just get pissed off with characters? I was at that point pissed off at Sam and Dina. I was like, you sons of bitches.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Sam, you just had to die. You just could have died. Then all your friends could have lived.
Right.
But no, I was so mad. I didn't stay that way, but at the time I was like, you fucking bitch. But the idea was to overdose her.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't work. So Dina winds up drowning her in the fucking lobster tank. Bloop, bloop. But yeah, I mean, that, and they leave when it happens. As soon as she dies, they're gone. But then she EpiPens the shit out of her and like pumps on her chest, which I thought the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing was kind of symbolic too. Because that came up at one point, and then the checkout lines like panned to the side 1, 2, then 3, then lane 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how many times she used, like, counted on the CPR kind of thing. And she comes back, and then they're hanging out later. Like, basically, Sam kisses Dina in front of her mom. She's like, basically just like, fuck you, mom.
Mm-hmm.
So they're hanging out at Dina's later. And Josh is on the internet talking to this chick. I stress he's been talking to the same chick online about all this stuff because that comes up later. But it turns out the story is not over because Sam is possessed and stabs Dina with a broken drumstick. And that scene when she stabs her, it's quiet and she's just looking at her and doesn't have any kind of wince of pain until she looks down and then she's pulling the drumstick out of her stomach. That was a scene right out of M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, for anybody keeping tally out there. But 1978, because that's where we wind up. Sam gets tied up, thankfully, by the phone goer, because I thought Dina was done for.
Mm-hmm.
So she ties her up and she looks at her brother and she's like, Sam's not feeling so well. Oh, they finally get a call back from C. Berman. And C. Berman is just like, there's no escaping the witch. You didn't stop it. It's just going to keep going. So now we pick up at 1978.
Where C. Berman is like 13 or something like that. And she's at a summer camp. And it basically just reminiscence of Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. I mean, it's basically like, yeah, Crystal Lake, all that shit.
Yeah, because it's Cindy Berman and her sister Ziggy. Basically, everybody's accusing Ziggy of being a witch, and they try to fucking literally burn her on a tree. And Nick Good, which is the sheriff, I want to say, the eventual sheriff Nick, shows up, and saves the day, and you can tell that like the goods are not necessarily viewed as good people, even though Nick is trying his damnedest. Cindy, her boyfriend Tommy, which Tommy actually winds up becoming the burlap sack axe killer. They're cleaning up the mess hall, and then like Nurse Lane, it's basically it was Ruby Lane's mom. You find out later this is Ruby Lane's mother.
Yeah.
She attacks Tommy, and she's like, "You're gonna die like one way or another. You're dying tonight." And she tries to kill him, and then she's actually like attacked and removed. Like the police wind up like taking her away and shit. Well, so everybody's like, "Oh, she was possessed by Sarah Fear," and then you got like Cindy who doesn't believe a goddamn bit of it. But you know, the whole Sarah Fear thing continues throughout these movies. Essentially, Ziggy becomes friends with Nick, and Nick tells her that he believes her, but you get the impression that he doesn't really believe her, or that he has like this kind of he's got this family heritage to hold up to because of his, you know, his past and his parents and all this other shit.
Yeah, because his dad's actually the police chief or the sheriff and stuff like that, so he expects him to become the same thing.
Right. Not to mention, Nick Good is from Sunnyvale, and she's from Shadyside, so it's a weird, like, Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you can't be with the weird girl from Shadyside.
Yeah.
So basically, Tommy gets possessed. Like, they find this cave, and it's Cindy's friend. I think it's Alice, right?
Right.
So Alice and her boyfriend, and Cindy and Tommy, they all go to this cave-looking thing that's underground, and they basically wind up getting attacked by Tommy. He kills Alice's boyfriend, and they escape him getting trapped by these rocks that separates them and Tommy. And well, they just kind of think, well, fuck, we're trapped underground forever. We're going to die down here. And they find like this book of the witch's curse and all this other shit. And they figure out the imagery in the book is actually a map of the underground.
Right.
So while everything is kind of going to shit up on the fucking ground floor up top, with Tommy just taking out like kids, he's killing fucking kids. Like that's one thing about this movie that I was like, holy shit, they're going there. They straight up like make you like this one dude while they're playing like Color, or what was it, Color War?
Color War.
Yeah. And so they're playing Color War, and then they make you like this one kid a lot, and then Tommy just fucking kills the shit out of this poor bastard.
It's like, I must ask you a question, sir.
Real hard.
Yeah.
So the funny part about them being underground, though, is where they actually find an opening to get out, and it's under the shitter because Ziggy is playing a revenge prank on this nasty bitch to her. And so Nick helps her, you know, plot a revenge where they lure her into the bathroom, and then they dump a shit ton of bugs on her.
And they basically like put a screwdriver into the door and lock her in there.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. What cracked me up is I'm like, oh my God, that looks like a giant literal pile of hardened shit under the toilet because there's no plumbing. It's just they're shitting into a fucking cave.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention Alice breaks her fucking ankle, like bone through skin.
Yeah, because her and Cindy try to get back up. They try to rappel or climb back up. And yeah, Alice, she can't at all.
No, she can't do shit. But I think it was at that moment or like a little bit before where Cindy was just like, look, I've been shitty to my sister. I've been shitty to you. You know, I thought if I could escape my past of Shadyside and I could go to Sunnyvale, and like if I did everything correctly and was polite and like, you know, that things would go my way. And it turns out that Cindy used to be kind of a wild child. She used to like smoke and all this other shit. Like she used to smoke pot, she used to have sex, drugs, all this other shit. But she just like, no, I'm not going to. And eventually her and her sister like finally reunite and they make up and shit like that. But they're being relentlessly hunted by this fucker. He kills Alice right in front of them. And then both Ziggy and Cindy run off into the woods because they figure out, oh my God, okay, we gotta get the witch's hand, and it has to be, you know, placed on the body, or it has to be
reunited with the body.
Yeah. So they can't find it, or they can't find the body. They find the hand, but they can't find the body, and it's kind of like all hope is lost. They're at this tree, and all these killers are fucking hauling ass after. It's like it was Tommy, Ruby Lane.
There was a little kid with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I think he was the one from the 20s.
Yep.
Either way, dude, they get the shit killed out of him. Like, Cindy has just had this axe repeatedly just buried in her fucking chest. I was just like, God damn, and it's gory.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these movies. They're fucking gory as hell.
Yeah, her and Ziggy were literally looking at each other in slow motion, like, I'm here with you, basically, the entire time, because they were both getting fucking hacked and shit.
Yeah, Ziggy got fucking like shanked in the side a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And you sat there the whole time. You're like, C. Berman. Okay, Cindy, what the fuck? How is she alive after all these fucking chest wounds and shit? Turns out that's not the C. Berman you think it is. Ziggy's real name is Christine, and you find that out on the gurney.
Mm-hmm.
What sucks is that Nick knows what's going on. He doesn't say anything. Like when the police ask what's going on, he was just like, "Oh, Tommy Slater went crazy, killed a bunch of the kids and killed a bunch of the counselors." But back in 1994, because we come back to it, they tell Christine that they found the witch's body, which we forgot to mention. They found the body where the fucking car accident happened with Sam.
It gets covered in red moss, and that's pretty much like the theme of Sarah Fear is like her influence is like red moss.
Yep, and the red moss was under the toilet where the Satan's rock was, or whatever it was, the devil's rock.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how Christine's like, holy shit, they're not kidding. And she's like, is the hand still under the tree? Where's the fucking tree? The tree is in the middle of the fucking mall in this courtyard area. And they dig it up and then they put the hand on the body, but Dina's nose bleeds and then it drops on the body with the hand, and then she completely goes into a full-blown vision in 1666 as Sarah Fear, and that's where this movie ends.
So now we basically get what I call a period piece.
Yep.
So this is the other part of the discrimination when it comes to who you love, basically. Because Sarah Fear was interested in this one girl, which was basically the same concept. What they did in 1666 was use the same actors from the other two movies and place them in place of literally the same people that were, representations of those people, basically. The brother, Josh, was still brother to Dina, but as Sarah Fear's brother, basically. Sam was the daughter of one of the pristine people of the council, I guess you can say, and her mom.
She was the pastor's daughter.
Yeah. But they had a festival where they were celebrating, harvest season, shit like that. And eventually, Sarah and Hannah run basically in the woods behind a rock, and you get a very intimate, vision of them. And there's a part where Sarah gets this wreath that has the red moss. And she has it on her head. And I think Hannah has it on hers too. Or they take a piece off of it and put it in Hannah's hair or whatever. Well, in the distance, you see this peeping Tom, piece of trash looking dude, witnessing everything. He runs his mouth to the actual village, and they accuse her of Sarah Fear of being a witch.
Yeah, because this dude's like the town drunk.
Yeah. The only person out of that whole entire village that actually trusts Sarah, or Sarah trusts basically, is this guy who basically is like an outcast from the whole entire village. She sees him more of a father figure, more of a influence than her actual dad does. Because I think her dad doesn't really have that kind of connection with Sarah as much as dude does.
She goes to Solomon Good.
Solomon Good, yeah. So throughout the entire thing, they're trying to hunt down Sarah Fear because they see the influence that she had over Hannah as witchcraft and oh, you shouldn't be laying with another woman, blah, blah, blah. So the whole entire town is hunting her down. But you eventually get this one part, I forgot to mention this. There's one part where I think all the kids get locked up in the church.
Yeah, because there's a reference to this in 1994 where Pastor Miller gouges out the eyes of all the children, including his own, in this church. And this is where the whole town, before the witch hunt begins, this is where they're just okay, that's enough. This town is cursed by this witch and we have to fucking kill her.
Yeah, because they have a town council meeting and they're like, yeah, it's Sarah Fear. It has to be because she's corrupted so much in this town and all this other shit. So, like I said, they go on a witch hunt. Well, Solomon's the only one that stands up to her, or stands up for her. It's no, it's not the case. It's literally just corruption in general. Like there's something going on beyond that. And they're like, no, it has to be somebody. Well, Solomon goes against, I think it was his brother. And he's like, no, we're doing this thing. And Solomon's just like, you can't. Well, Sarah is literally trying to find Hannah because Hannah is, I think she was trying to get back with Sarah, but I think she got locked in the church away from Sarah. And she eventually finds her and tries to free her. And they literally like stealth the entire movie, basically. They're trying to get out of town. And Sarah gets to the point where it's like, you know what? If they want a witch, I'll give them a witch. Because before all this started, they found this woman who was literally like the crazy, like female person in this whole fucking village. Well, she had this shack and had all this weird paraphernalia of witchcraft and shit like that. Well, they find a book, which is the same fucking book from 74 that they found. And Sarah goes back to the same place and tries to read from the book. Well, the book is gone.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, this is where she figures out that Solomon has actually made a deal with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's under his house and all these tunnels and shit. And he tells her that he took the book to make a deal with the devil, offering up Pastor Miller to get possessed to kill other people in exchange for power and wealth for his family in the town.
Yeah, because I think at one point in the past, like, he got fucking shot over, his family died, and nobody else is even addressing it or even concerned about it. It's like, oh, well, you're fine.
Yep.
Go fuck off.
Exactly.
So you find out because I think in the previous film, they find the tablets on the wall that had all the names of all the killers that Sarah's curse basically puts on there as like your mine now. Basically.
Yeah,
you're my possession.
Yeah, this is who's going to do my bidding.
Well, the first person was the Pastor Miller.
Yep.
And Solomon was the one that like cursed him to be the first killer. And then eventually Sarah finds out that it's Solomon, and Solomon chases her pretty much throughout the entire town.
Yeah, because he's offering to share the power with her.
Yeah.
And she's straight up just, it's like, nope.
Like, once she finds out what's going on, she's like, okay, no, never mind.
Then this is where he cuts her hand off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he breaks her hand against like the rock or something, and it winds up getting cut and ripped off or some shit in the struggle.
That shit was fucking painful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's on par with Mia ripping her own goddamn hand off in that Evil Dead reboot or the sequel or whatever in 2013, when she just pulls it from under the Jeep and you just see the skin stretching and just, oh God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really strange because, like, yeah, the whole thing is the Good family. Like, you figure out the Good family is not good at all.
No.
And Sarah and Hannah are set to be executed. Well, Sarah convinces the town to spare Hannah because she loves her. And before she's hanged, she vows vengeance on the entire Good family. So yeah, they I think after that, Lizzie, Isaac, and Hannah, and then Abigail, they all bring Sarah's body to where they bury her.
Right.
And this is where she's been the entire time until 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And so back in 1994, this is where Dina is just like, oh, hey, the Good family's a bunch of dicks. And I believe this is, oh my God. So there's this janitor in the mall. This is probably one of the funniest fucking lines in the movie. They figure out they have to kill Nick, the sheriff, Good, to stop the curse. So they leave, and the janitor, Martin, they stop at his fucking house. And I just think it's hilarious because Josh is like, hey, you want to help us kill Sheriff Good? All right, let me get my coat.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Well, the thing is, like, he gets harassed so damn much by Sheriff Good throughout the whole film in the first one.
Be more like Sheriff fucking Evil.
Yeah. And they're like, at first he's like hesitant. It's like, man, I ain't getting involved in this shit. And then Josh is like you said, he's like, you want to go kill Nick Good?
Nah, buddy, I'm just joshing you.
He's like, yeah, let me get my check.
I fucking love that so much. Yeah, let me get my coat. All right, I'm gonna head out.
So what they do is the collective, Josh, Dina, Christine, and Janitor Man, I don't know what to call him. Martin, that's right. They devise a plan to use Dina's blood, and they mix it in some water, and they literally soak, like, super soakers and mop buckets, and they paint arrows and everything like that. They graffitied the fuck out of this mall. But the plan was to trap every single killer inside one of the stores.
Yeah, but the little roll down gates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Martin was like, oh no, once it's down, it's pretty much locked. You can't open it basically unless you reactivate it.
Except for one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we forgot. In the ensuing chaos in the very beginning of the first film, old girl is trying to escape the dude in the skull outfit, and the door won't shut all the way.
Right.
And unfucking fortunately, that's one of the doors.
She gets yanked. But yeah, so they attract all the killers, and they're literally trying to get Sheriff Good to follow suit, basically. And they get a few of them trapped, and I remember, like I said earlier, there was a super soaker with one of the killers. They super soaked him, and I think Tommy started fighting him in the middle of the mall. And it was the janitor-looking dude, or the maintenance-looking dude, or the milkman-looking guy. I don't remember his name. But he had like this weird kind of like glossy, distorted face a little bit. Like he was kind of like smiling the entire time. But they were just literally stabbing each other, chopping each other, and shit like that. It was so fucking cool. Eventually, I think at one point they run into like the backside of the mall, and I'm trying to remember like if this is the part where Nick actually shows up, and he's just kind of like,
Yeah, Nick shows up, and eventually like him and Dina go to the basement area of the mall, which is under the cavern area again, with the rocks, like the names all over them, and all this other shit. And Nick almost kills her, but there's like this pile of like organs that happens throughout the fucking trilogy. Like it's this alive blob of goo. Well, she exposes him to him, and he gets like a vision of all the victims, and she kills him. And then as soon as she kills him, all the killers disappear and the curse is broken. Then go figure, like the Good family gets exposed like on television, and now it's going to be apparent that Shady Side may have a little bit of good fortune, and then Sunnyvale is about to get fucked.
Yeah, because didn't they come out of Sheriff Good's house? Like they came out of the crawl space into his house.
Yeah, and then they came out bloodied up in the neighborhood, and the neighbors are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then the reverse of everything, like you said, you know, Sunnyvale's literally going to shit, and Shady Side's like, okay, we can prosper, finally.
There's like two endings. The first ending that I think is really neat is that Ziggy actually reunites with Miss Lane, the nurse from 78. Well, Dina and Sam finally have their picnic date, but they have it at Sarah Fear's grave, which in the first one, she tells Sam that she's just like, you know, when all this is over, I'm going to take you on a date. We're going to eat hamburgers, and we're going to listen to the Pixies, and we're going to make out and have the best night of our fucking lives. Well, they wind up listening to the Pixies while they're having hamburgers at this picnic date.
Lo and behold.
Yeah. That happens. And I mean, it's like a happy ending, or is it? Because in a mid-credits section, they kind of zoom in on the book, the satanic book in the tunnels, and somebody takes it.
Don't know who, though.
Yeah, so I mean, if we got more of these, I would not be pissed. Lee Janiak did all three of these. Fucking impressed. Fucking very impressed. I really liked the detail she paid attention to as far as like with each era, they shot things differently. They used different camera styles for each one. Like in 1994, they used more like dolly shots and rolling shots and things like that. 1978 was more pan shots. They had some hand cam kind of stuff to kind of give it that horror, real like 70s kind of slasher horror feel. And 1666 had that real kind of graininess to the period piece section. It was almost like The Witch, but not literally that, but that's what you could tell it was kind of what it was going for.
It's almost like gray washed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I liked all three of these as a collective, but I was more drawn to 66 personally because I just love history and the period pieces more.
I liked 1978. I think the best out of all of them. And it's not even that one's best and the others suck because they don't suck. I think that's where I think I was drawn to it just because I really love horror, especially like old, like late 70s, 80s horror movies. It's perfect.
Well, it's like I said earlier, it's like this one's like the Friday the 13th vibe out of the trio. So.
Yeah, it was like Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, The Burning, just shit like that. But yeah, definitely check the Fear Street Trilogy out. By far the best of everything we've talked about today. Yes.
Yeah.
Visit supermediabrospodcast.com to listen to past, present, and future episodes. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Buy some merch.
I was about to say, put some clothes on.
You want to be a super media hoe? Wear our shit.
Yeah. We need some underwear.
Oh my God. Yeah, we do. We need underwear in general, but yeah, we need
the one with like the logo on the crotch.
Where it's like, bam.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Have a cinematic dick.
Yep.
Or have a cinematic vag.
Super meaty, bro.
Super media. Meaty. Yeah.
We have the meats.
We're like Arby's, but better.
Yeah.
It's like a DJ like dropping, we have the beats. Leave us a rating and review on Podchaser and Apple Podcasts. It's probably not going to be a 5-star after that, but fuck it. Whatever.
Probably won't be a no star after that. It's like, you talked about my roast beef.
We're not leaving you shit.
Everything was great except for that. Stop making jokes.
We have the
yeets.
The yeets. Check out all the other shows on the OddPods Media Network. Hell, go check out our fucking mashup we did last week with From the Middle. That was a fun fucking episode.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do more of those in the future.
Yeah, I'm always down for collabs.
But I think it's time to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm about tapped out.
Before we get hacked up.
Killed enough time.
Netflix and killed enough time.
Mm-hmm.
That was episode 187. Netflix and kill. Stupid, but it's funny.
Yes, to us.
Yeah. Until next week, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
Alan Mokame.
Shades on.
How?